Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM.
Brought to you proudly by Sportsman's Warehouse, Counts Marine, the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and Avery Superstore.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as we talk in this fastest 90 minutes in outdoor radio program. We close out today's show as we have had a celebration. And Charlie Covington said he's learned more on this show today than he has in 2 years about Gene Smith. Of course, those other 2 years he was fast asleep, so, but no.
He's been taking notes today.
He's been taking notes, and he didn't even have a pen. But, no, Charlie, we appreciate you. I hope, Charlie, you don't feel like you're being neglected here, and we'll do something on you in 20 years, okay? When they roll me in here on my walker.
Yeah, my beard should be really out by then.
Oh, yeah, it should be, yeah. But we have kept most of this under control as we've talked to friends of Gene Smith, as we have, as I said on this, these have been difficult times for the Smith family and the loss of his lovely wife, Vicki. But at the same time, we wanted this to be a celebration show. We've held it together. His son, Russell, is with us, one of his two sons. His other son is Steve, and Russell's here this morning, and we also have Russell's son, Matthew, that I know that Gene and Vicki were both really wonderful about Matthew's accomplishments.
Very proud of him.
Talked about him all the time. He never mentioned Russell, but he talked about Matthew all the time. I said, golly, this guy must be, coming in here with, diamond-suited clothes or something like that. But just realized that they just got back here recently from a wonderful trip out to Wyoming to the Tetons. But anyway, that's another story. We have our final guest of the day, and who better to close it out? Even Gene knew who this might be. That is our
my traveling buddy,
Minister of Propaganda, former Minister of Propaganda, who continues to propaganda as the co-host of this show on the first Saturday of each month. He'll be back next Saturday with me and Gene. We got Gene back to back. No, I don't know how we're going to control that.
Yeah.
But that's our good friend Dave Gabbard. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. Yeah, it's I'm glad I had all these other opening acts for me.
Well, I know you and Gene have traveled some miles together. I know.
Me and Gene, or my brother Darrell, as I call him.
Yeah.
We've gone way back. Of course, I knew Gene when I was still as an officer. Probably when I first went to work and started going to the Hunter Ed workshops over at Henry Horton back in '83. Gene was over there and got to know him. And then when I went on staff in the information education section for the last 20 years of my career, Gene was my go-to guy.
He was, yeah.
He was.
And why?
Well, if I needed, sometimes you get requests all the time to do what I call dog and pony shows.
There it comes. I knew it would do that.
Dog and pony shows.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get the dogs to ride the ponies, and sometimes the ponies are going to have to ride the dogs. But if I needed somebody and to do a show, or Gene was really good and calling me and saying, hey, I got a request for to do something for some youth and stuff.
Yeah.
You think we can do it? I said, yeah. And he was always my go-to guy. He was always there. He was, we usually went together. I knew he was going to be there, to help me load up everything because he was normally riding with me. He couldn't go anywhere.
You picked him up along the road. That's
I usually fed him and stuff.
Oh, that's bless your heart. Yeah.
Stuff like that. But he was a real pleasure, and I knew if I needed somebody on something, I could always call on Gene, and what the kids liked. Gene was a hit. He always brought his tomahawk and showing these kids how to throw the hawks and stuff.
Yeah.
And some of them getting a good hang of it and everything. And every now and then we'd take a road trip. A few years ago we slipped off up to Friendship, Indiana.
Yeah, you went on that. I remember.
to the big black powder chute and walked around and talked to people. And but what always surprised me across the state and dealing with people with Gene not there, how many people knew Gene?
Yeah,
it's like they always knew Gene or who I was talking about.
Yeah, we realize that there's probably I've got a Gene Smith in my church, and it's a woman. So I mean, we got to be really careful in this. And there was a big Gene, there was a big Gene, there was a little Gene, at one time, and but Gene and you, we've talked about you guys. We have a lot of fun on the first Saturday. You guys are kind of like my partners here when we come together, and you say Brother Darrell and Brother Darrell, but at the same time, I think Gene, you and Dave have a partnership too. I mean,
whenever you're out hunting, we usually take over the studio.
That's right. Yeah. When we would do that, and I would be the whispering man,
the deer whisperer,
whisperer out in the field,
or the shouter over the thunderstorms.
That's right.
Yeah, that's turkey season. It always storms.
Yeah, he always makes it rain in turkey season.
It always makes it rain. But we got Dave Gabbard on with us this morning on Outdoors with Larry Ray as we talked about this man who has done so much, won so many awards, and I think he always told me that the events that he liked best always involved kids, and whether that's the Baptist Boys Ranch or the youth hunt at Ames Plantation, where he would actually spend the night.
Camp with them,
and camp with them, and things along that line. And Dave, I know that's the part of Gene that makes people know and respect him, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and that's and he was always willing to do it.
Yeah.
And bless her heart, Vicky was always willing to let him do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
We know who the boss was. Okay, let's don't get carried away here because.
But it was we had some good times, and it was and Gene was always good like me, to come up with Plan B. And I had a little girl one time that's fixing to do a program, and I asked her, I said, "What's your Plan B?" She goes, "What do you mean Plan B?" I said, "That's what happens 2 minutes before you step out, and Plan A goes south of it."
And Gene would have a Plan B and a C, I think.
That's right. We were always, and so.
Have you ever heard Have you ever heard of anybody that is more witty, that has more quick things that come to him? Now we're gonna age you now.
Okay.
How old are you?
78.
78 years old. And have you ever? Has he always? I mean, you guys.
He's always been there.
Well, I'm looking at his kids. I'm looking at them. I'm saying, is he always? Where does he learn these? It looked like he spent all of his time watching Johnny Carson when he was
Well, that's what my mother said. She said, "How come you can remember those jokes, but you can't remember what your homework was?"
Because I've known him for 35 years or more, and if I'd wrote down every little witty saying you ever seen, I'd have a set of encyclopedias.
And you would have a bestseller. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he just popped one on us a while ago, but I'm trying to figure out how to get it on the show. Because it's a good one. That we have to work it out. But you guys have had a rapport. I know that, and both of you're being from, let's say, you're from Fraser, all right?
Yeah.
Gene has been the part of the Raleigh community for so long.
Yeah.
I know, Dave, you grew up a lot in Meeman Shelby Forest.
Oh, yeah.
And Gene has done that throughout his career, and whether it's a rendezvous or whether it's the Friends of the Forest or whatever it might be. But I couldn't think of a better team that we've got when you and Gene are in here with me.
I agree.
I don't have to worry about...
Dave's my rock.
Yeah, Dave is a rock for a lot of us, and I mean, he's probably sitting on a rock right now. Look, oh no,
that's
hold it now. Gene's phone is ringing and the rooster is crowing here on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Now, look, is it President Trump again? You know, I mean, we're trying to find out.
Hello.
Hello, here he's talking to somebody on the radio.
I'm on the air. Good night.
Good night. Oh, okay.
That was my other son calling. He has telephone-itis.
Oh.
And believe it or not, you know,
what?
I was over at Hunter Ed one time, and Gene was sitting there with a young lady, and he introduced me, and it was his daughter. I go, I didn't know you had a daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And she kind of chastised him a little bit.
She sure
know?
did. She said, you mean you didn't tell nobody you had a daughter? I said, I didn't know Dave knew I didn't have a daughter. I don't know.
And we really need to mention her name too, because
Sherry.
I'd hate to. We've mentioned all the men in your life, but we better mention Sherry because she's kind of important too. You did mention that she was a catcher, right?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah. We had horses till the boys found out about girls.
Oh,
so I had to sell the horses.
You could have kept the girl horses.
Yeah, they'd rather play with girls. Go figure.
Hey, we got to go, Dave. Thank you, man.
Okay.
We'll talk to you next week, and thank you for Gene. I know he appreciates you, brother.
I love you, buddy.
I love you too, brother. I tell you what, anything I needed, all I do is call Dave.
That's right.
I don't care what it was. He give it.
We'll talk to you next week. We need a few things, Dave. We'll let you know. Okay. Bye.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Dave Gabbard. All right. We got 2 minutes here, and I want to really thank Russell and Matthew for being here, part of this show. Thank you, Charlie Covington, and what's his name over here too. I hope that you enjoyed this.
I appreciate
this
that.
90 minutes of you and I have been friends for a long, long
yes,
time.
We have.
And I was privileged to go over there for that award when you got that recently, me and Dave. And Miriam was privileged to sit with Vicki while we were gone.
Sure was,
so we appreciate you and love you. Next week, quickly, first Saturday. Oh, he's got to come back. Oh my goodness, back to back. Gene Smith. What will we do with him? All right. Next week, Gene will be in here with Dave Gabbard, and we're going to talk to Captain Michael Perry. If that name sounds familiar, he is the son of Jim Perry of Paris, Tennessee, Northwest Tennessee Tourism. But Michael is a captain now. Sailing in the Atlantic Ocean off Hilton Head. And we're going to talk deep sea fishing. And just finalized yesterday, Terrace shooting team captain Jesse Harrison, one of the world's top winning pistol shooters, and been on this show many times. She's going to be back with us next week just to talk about her wonderful career in shooting. Shelby McCall, thank you for taking care of us. Matthew, Russell, Charlie, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Little Gene.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and remember now, do we want to say that? Do you think you have a little witty thing before we leave?
Oh,
here?
yeah, I got one.
All right, tell us to it.
Well, you're talking about age now. I met a gentleman sitting on a park bench the other day. He was crying.
Yeah.
I said, what's the problem? He said, I just married a 25-year-old blonde. She's beautiful. And I said, why are you crying? He said, well, I forgot where I live. I don't know how you know it. Hey, this is Larry Ray reminding you it doesn't cost an extra cent to be a good sport. And what else? God bless the USA.